the World Indoor Championships have come and gone, and all of track and field is now waiting for a very special meet to happen in Paris this summer. You could argue that Femke Bol breaking the world indoor record in the 400 was the highlight, but I'd still have to go with Noah Lyles and Christian Coleman dueling it out in the 60-meter dash. The reason is because track and field is apparently an individualized sport, or at least that's what you keep telling me in the comments. In college, they hand out team trophies at the conference meets and again at the NCAAs, which is why I beg to differ. But I admit that pro track and field is all about star power, and the sport component only actually comes into play when you're competing against someone who could actually beat you. So when the world record holder in the 60-meter dash goes up against the reigning world champion in the 100-meter dash, that is as close to must-see TV that we're gonna get in March. And if I'm gonna be really honest with you, it's actually must-see YouTube, because that's just about where everybody saw the race anyway. I told you when you comment on my channel that I actually try to read them all, and recently I did a video featuring Sha'Carri Richardson, and I'm even gonna level with you that the concept wasn't even 100% about her. But if I'm gonna keep being honest, there's really not that many people who actually care that Julian Alfred won the world championship indoors in the 60-meter dash. Or at least not as many people who care that Sha'Carri wasn't there. And if you don't believe me, just search up both of their names and see what comes up. So I spent some time pointing out that the reigning women's world champion in the 100-meter dash didn't show up to run indoors. The fact that so many of you wanted to defend her for not choosing to run is entirely fine, but it also means that now I owe it to you to give a legitimate response. Track and field is a sport with a very serious problem, and we all know what it is. It's just not that popular at the professional level and doesn't generate much revenue, at least not compared to the NBA and the NFL in America. I've also gone on record to document my feelings about the problem. I've got a whole playlist on it. But if you don't understand why it is a bad look for the entire sport when the reigning women's world champion in the 100-meter dash doesn't show up to the World Indoor Championship meet, then allow me to break it down real quick. The truth is that pro track and field has a lot of issues, and Sha'Carri Richardson herself has made a point of acknowledging that. But we can't just keep pointing fingers if we actually want to solve them. And the athletes, particularly the ones who win on the biggest stages, have the most power to actually determine where things go from here. So I apologize in advance, because this video is a little bit different, because I actually care about you, and I care about the sport. But as long as the athletes themselves, or at least the best ones, don't care about competing indoors, then the fans aren't going to care about it either. That includes Sha'Carri Richardson, and anytime a pro track and field meet gets ignored on the schedule, it is a bad look for the entire sport and for us as fans, as well as the athletes in their bank accounts. And don't worry, I've got the receipts to prove it. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Now allow me to go over the facts the way that I understand them, because I'm not trying to make a big fuss about nothing. It is because of the serious problems affecting track and field that even a fan like myself only really gets to watch the races online after they've already happened somewhere else around the world. The world indoor races that got the most views were the women's 4x4 and the men's 60-meter dash. But the logical reason for that was who was running in the races. Specifically, what did they put on the thumbnails to get people to click? I get accused of clickbait, and any other successful content creator will get accused as well. There are real reasons for that, and I don't have enough time to get into it. But you know that I'm not making this up. When a major network would rather spoil the end of the race in the title and the thumbnail, instead of just telling you what it actually was, they're only doing it to get more casual fans to click. Femke Bol versus Alexis Holmes is a rematch of the anchor leg from the mixed 4x4 at the 2023 World Championships. And in that race, Femke Bol tripped, literally steps from the line, and allowed Alexis Holmes to get the victory. And their anchor legs from World Indoor was still a face-off between the American champion and the new world record holder. But the 60 was once again Noah Lyles against Christian Coleman, and I really don't have to break down anymore why that was going to get people to click. What I'm trying to say is that track and field right now is basically being marketed the same way they do boxing and the UFC. that means it is all about the matchups. We tune in to watch two top athletes face off, and everybody else in the other lanes are essentially extras in an action movie. Of course, somebody else might win, but they probably won't. So the way we get people to pay attention is to put the focus on the people competing on the track, not on the event itself. Professional sports is always the entertainment business. That means this is not about track and field, it's about what people want to watch. Right now, it's incredibly hard to get the fans to care about anything in the sport unless an athlete breaks a major record or builds up a name for themselves by winning a bunch of major championships along the way. Sha'Carri Richardson and Noah Lyles are the two sprinters who've done this the most recently, and they both happen to be American. That is why Noah Lyles showing up to run indoors is still a very big deal. He's done it in the past, even when he wasn't winning much in the 60 yet. But the fact that he stuck with it and was committed to competing for a world title is now the reason why we got to enjoy one of the greatest 60-meter dash finals that we've ever seen in the modern era. I heard you in the comments when you said that Sha'Carri wasn't the only top athlete to choose not to run indoors, but she is one of the best. So that makes her more accountable than most when she chooses not to run indoors. And for the record, this is all a responsibility that she asked for a while ago. She told us all that she was aware that she makes the fans happy when she's on the track. After her 200-meter victory in New York back in 2022, she also told us that she is aware of her influence and her responsibility to the USATF community at an awards banquet back in December of 2023. And after all that, she is a consistent advocate for better pay in track and field, better governance of the sport, and better media attention. Trust me when I tell you that I am on her side, but not showing up to run indoors is pretty contradictory to all of those goals. Simply put, it is pretty hard for a TV promoter to sell a product that is contingent on the star athlete actually showing up if you don't know if and when they will. The more TV money that they can make, the more money on the table for the athletes to negotiate about in all their sponsorship deals. Because the more people watch Sha'Carri Richardson, the more we get exposed to the brands she represents. That also means that if TV partners could actually count on top athletes to show up to the event they were going to host, they would pay more for those events to get on TV. I'm well aware that she's just doing what's best for her training during an Olympic year. In fact, every other athlete is doing the same thing. But like I said before, if the athletes don't care about taking the indoor event seriously, then of course, the fans aren't going to care about it either. This part is not a track and field problem. Every single sport has to deal with it. When Michael Jordan chose to do the dunk contest, every single superstar player who had a chance to do it after him felt obligated to compete in it. But when LeBron James chose not to do it, the exact same thing happened. Almost every superstar since him has avoided doing it, and the ratings are a reflection of that. And now, we're actually out here watching a G Leaguer win the whole thing. No offense. And now the NBA can barely get players to compete for an entire season without trying to take games off. They put a rule in place to make it clear that you can't qualify for postseason awards if you don't at least play in 65 games during the regular season. We know that injuries happen, but the real problem was that non-injured players were taking games off and still expecting to get paid. And track and field doesn't pay the athletes enough as is. Only the Sha'Carris of the world can afford to take indoors off. But if she takes it seriously, anyone else would be encouraged to do the same. The late Kobe Bryant said it best, that as top athletes, you have an obligation to the fans. You get voted into the All-Star game in the NBA because of how well and how hard you play during the regular season. So you owe it to the fans to give them that in the All-Star game. But everybody knows just how much of a joke that game has turned into, and the commissioner Adam Silver isn't happy about it. Because the NBA itself is up for broadcast deal negotiations, and the tanking ratings for the All-Star game are going to make it hard for him to sell that product. Sha'Carri was right that track and field needs better governance, but if she gets what she wishes for, and a person like me becomes the commissioner, one of the first things I'm gonna do is find a way to incentivize all the top track and field athletes to take indoors seriously. In fact, I would discourage them from ignoring it entirely. I honestly believe the only reason we saw Fred Curley indoors in the 60 is because Noah Lyles said he would do it himself. I also believed it influenced Akeem Blake to leave Jamaica and compete on American soil. As a result, we got some really fun races to watch as they all chased after Christian Coleman. Sha'Carri Richardson is a generational talent, and she is a leader. I've known that since she was 19 years old, and I'm also aware that she knows it too. So all I'm really asking for is that the athletes like her, the ones who have the talent that we all dreamed that we would have, just give the people what they want. Without the fans watching, you don't have much of anything. It's the real reason why the pay in track and field is trash. It is a treat to watch Sha'Carri run, and it's something that we really don't want to wait around to the middle of the outdoor season to get to see. So as long as she doesn't care about indoors, the fans are correct to join her and not care about it either. But that also means there's a lot of money that will be left on the table because people don't get tired of watching the best compete. Michael Jordan played in all 82 regular season NBA games 9 times, and the people never got tired of paying a premium to watch him in those games. Any NBA ticket in the 90s costed a whole lot less when he wasn't supposed to be on the court. I'm not saying that she is the Jordan of track and field, but the view counts are proof that people don't get tired of watching her either. As long as she competes, they will tune in, whether she wins or she loses, and regardless of whatever track she's doing it on. And if you don't believe me, then let's just see how fast all those tickets for the Melrose game sell out at the Armory in New York City if she ever chooses to run the 60-meter dash. SCA track and field gear is here. Fast is a lifestyle, and what you wear should reflect that. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.